So here is a close-up of those adorable gumballs. I love these little machines. I think they're so adorable. So this is what we're going to show you how to make today. Now you will see that depending on what background paper you pick, yours might have a little bit of a different look. And of course you can use this design with any of our amazing Stampin' Up! Products, or maybe do a different color. But this was kind of going with my Share Sunshine theme for some boxes I was sending out. So we're kind of sticking with the yellow, but you can easily switch the colors up. All right, so to make this, let me scoop some of these off to the side here. To make this, of course, we're going to be using the amazing mini paper pumpkin boxes. They come in a pack of 10 and arrive flat, so you have to put them together. And I love these. These are such an amazing size. If you are not aware, they are half the size of a standard paper pumpkin box. So here's a comparison real quick. Paper pumpkin box. So, and it will fit in a standard paper pumpkin box as well if you were sending it to somebody. So besides the mini paper pumpkin box, today we're going to be using a couple different things. We're going to be using the snow globe shaker domes, and that gives us that lovely clear dome. To cut that out, we're also going to be using the snow globe dies, specifically this base for the snow globe, and then also the cutout to cut out that dome. Okay. Paper colors today, we're going to be using the beautiful Daffodil Delight for our background edge. We're going to be using the In Good Taste Designer Series paper. I love this paper stack so much. You're going to see it a lot because I love it a lot. But if you don't want to use this stack, you use any of our other beautiful paper stacks. But I just think this looks really good with the white, and I don't have to cover the whole box. We're also going to be using just some extra pieces of Whisper White as well for our pull, for our words, and then also for the inside if you want to. To do our base of the machine, we're going to be using some gold foil. Okay. We're also going to be using the Coordinating Daffodil Delight ink pad for stamping our sentiment. Our sentiment today comes from the Heartfelt stamp set. It says, being friends is better than eating candy, but let's do that too. There's a lot of other sentiments that you could stamp on this as well, but I just pulled this out and I thought that was just perfect. So that's what we're going to be using today. Also, some dimensionals and the foam adhesive strips. You guys know I love these. They are so versatile. So we're going to be using both of these on this project. To punch the little edge of our pieces, we're going to be using this wonderful punch. This is one of the brand new ones, which name is forgetting me right now, but the video description will have all the links below. To punch out our hole, now you have a couple different options depending on what you have available. Now I actually have the, what is now retired 1-inch, there it is, 1-inch punch from Stampin' Up! That was really handy. If you don't have this, you can also use just a circle die from the circle thinlits, or this is another really handy piece. This is from the mini purse die set. It's one of the little tags, and this one is actually one of the ones I prefer to use, and I'll show you in a bit. It's actually a lot easier to cut that out. So whatever you want to do for the hole, but definitely some form of circle will make it way easier. Okay, out to the side. Dimensional strips, adhesive. I'll be using some good old multi-purpose liquid glue. Let's get one that's not sticky. Okay. And then to seal the box, also some adhesive of your choice. I'll probably use the tear and tape, but lots of different possibilities on that. And I think we got everything. All right, so let's get into how to make this adorable little box. All right, so the first thing you're going to do, let's take this off the side, is you're going to pull one of those boxes out. Now, I did run it through my cutting machine. But to run it through, because it's so long, it has so many pieces, you have to fold the edges down. And it's going to be a snug fit. I will be completely honest, it will be snug, but it did run through my Big Shot. Just make sure your pads are not too warped, because that affects things, but you don't need any shims or anything. It should fit, but just to be sure you have those edges down. Now I put my dome die right below that top edge. So that was sure to give me plenty of space up at top for my sentiment and worked out pretty well. Now you will get a little bit of a fold edge, but it should be fine. So if you just do it in like that, you don't have to fold these pieces down here. So just in and back and you're good. All right, so cutting that out. Ta-da. And I always like to put a little piece of washi tape, this is old, to make sure it doesn't slide in place. And boom, we have cut it out. Now we don't really need this for anything, so I'll put it outside. Okay, so now we have our piece. Now we're gonna go ahead and grab our papers. Let me show you the measurements on these real quick. So our yellow for that background edge is at 5.5 by 3 3/4. Our designer series paper that goes on top is at 3.5 by 5 1/4. And these are all inches. I forgot to do the inches mark. Yeah, you guys know, inches. Okay, so we're going to start. Flip this here. So we're going to start with our yellow and line it where we want it. And this can be flat, or you can go ahead and fold the box, but we'll just do it like this for now. So put where I want it. So I want it right there. It's going to be lined up. You might get a little bit of that white edge, but you should be fine. I'm just going to grab another little piece. Washi tape is really handy for this project, so I would recommend just a scrap bit of washi tape. Type, color does not matter. So I'm just going to hold that down. And then this is the side that I want to be the front. So I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to trace that hole. Now you might be wondering, well, Michelle, why don't you just glue it down and run it all through together? That's a great idea, but the box is too thick. So you have to do it step by step to get them. Otherwise, it just won't work in my machine. So that's why we're gonna cut them out piece by piece. So I like to kind of do a little bit of that edge. I'm going to take that die and line it up. So if I kind of fill it in, I can see it a little bit better. I'll take that washi tape and place it just like so and run it through my machine. Okay, so now I have cut that out and you can see take my piece, it'll line up on the top side nice and evenly. Also, I don't think I mentioned, so the boxes have two sides, an outside and an inside. The inside is food safe and it has this nice slick finish. So you do want to keep that in mind when you're cutting and prepping this, that the slick side is the inside that's food safe. All right, so you can see now we have our yellow cut out. And I'm going to go ahead and take my next piece, just line that on top just like that where I want it. So I have that nice little edge all the way around, and I'm going to take that washi tape yet again and hold it down and flip and draw. Now it should fit right in there. Do the exact same thing. Now, depending on your machine, you might be able to glue these two pieces together and cut them at the same time, but I'd personally rather be safe than sorry and don't want it crooked because I've done a couple crooked. Okay. Take that apart. And I'm going to go ahead and line that up and cut it out again. Okay, so now you can see I've got both pieces cut out. I can lay them right on top and they do match up nicely. Now if yours don't match up exactly right on the edge, it's better to have the inside match up than the edge if yours didn't cut properly. So, all right, so we've got that. I'm gonna go ahead and adhere these two together. With the glue that's not dried up. It never fails. It's always the one I grab. Now, when you're adding the glue, don't add any right here directly below because we're going to be cutting that out and you don't want to get whatever die or punch you have that you're going to use sticky. Okay, so that should be plenty. Just going to take that and line it up. Lovely, lovely. Just like that. Oh, I think I put it on the wrong side. Nope, no I didn't. Okay. Okay, so mine's a little uneven at the bottom, but I'm not going to stress about it. All right. So now we have that. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab my circle punch. Now, yet again, this is a retired circle punch, but you can also just use the Stampin' Up! Circle die as well. This is just faster for video's sake. So if you do have this, you just slide it in, just like that. And kind of line it up even and give it a little press. Boom, just like that. Ta-da! That came out. Okay. Alright, so now, next thing. So we have our front and our circle. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to cut that circle out of our box as well. Now, this circle does not have to be the exact same size as the front. You don't want the front one to be so small that whatever you're putting inside doesn't fit. So now's a good time to test. So I do have some gumballs left, and I will put the link for these as well. They have other colors available, but yet again, I just did the yellow to kind of go with that theming. But whatever filler you're using, you want to make sure that it's going to fit through your hole. So this one's perfect because you don't want to make a beautiful thing and then it doesn't fit. So, all right, so I've got that. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut this real quick. All right, so now I have both holes cut, so you can see that is all good to go. I'm going to go ahead and glue the front down. We're going to add our dome. Again, lining up those openings. There we go. So I have a little bit of a white edge showing, but not a big deal. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and grab our snow globe shaker domes. These come also in a pack of 10, so hey, 1 pack of domes, 1 pack of paper pumpkin boxes, and you're good to go making 10 of these. So these have adhesive on both sides. They were designed for like shaker style cards. Now for this project, you don't want to take the adhesive off the back side. You want to do it on the top that has the dome, because we don't want sticky on our gumballs. So we're just going to take that top one off, and we're going to stick it underneath and slide it through and press it down. Just like that. And it should fit perfectly just in that opening. Now do also make sure that your little flap isn't stuck under like I just did. So I'll put that back up, give it a little press. Okay, so see this back tape? Leave this tape on. You don't want that to come off and get on whatever goodies you're putting on the inside. So just leave it and it's fine. All right, so the other thing to notice too with this is depending on how low you put your hole, part of your opening might be blocked by the edge of the dome. So now is another good time, before we do the top part that's going to cover it, to just double check and make sure, yet again, whatever you're putting in your gumball machine is going to fit through. So I can just easily check, and okay, that doesn't affect, and it's going to be covered anyway, but it doesn't affect the flow of the candy. Okay. So next thing, we're going to go ahead and grab our pieces of gold foil and cut those out. There we go. With that base piece from those snow globe dies. Hopefully that's in camera. Yes, it's in camera. Okay. Let's take this off for a second. Okay. So So we're going to cut those out, and then we're going to glue those together, one on top of the other. Now it's got kind of like a swoop and then a wider part. So the two wider parts are going to be glued on top of each other, just like that. And similar to how we added the adhesive on the last project, we're not going to put some in the center because we're about to cut a hole. It just kind of wastes glue. So just do like that. I'm going to stick it on top, and there's kind of like these little, I want to say bumps on the base. Just kind of line those up, just like that. See? Oh, okay. Wiggles a little. All right. So now we have our base done. Now we're going to need to cut our hole. Now for this is yet again where I recommend that one die. Actually, I bent it a little bit. That one die from the tiny curvy box or mini curvy box set. But if you don't have that, you could yet again use just a small circle die or any other similar shape. Now for this, I really like this one because this we're not cutting the whole circle out. If you can see, right here we go. If you can see on here, we're just cutting a portion of it out. I feel like it really looks more like a gumball machine that way. So when we stick it in our machine, whatever your machine is, you're going to go ahead and take it and line it up so you have that little bit of point hanging out. And let me grab my pad real quick. I'm going to show you how you cut this, but not cut it all the way. Okay, should have had this handy. Okay. So whatever your machine is, you're going to have some form of clear plastic pad. So when you do your sandwich for your dies, let me move this off to the side here. There we go. Okay. Instead of putting it over the entire piece, you're just going to stick it over the part that you want to cut. So that means this is going to be on the very end of your die sandwich. So it's going to be like that. If that makes sense. Hopefully that's showing up in camera. Okay, yeah, okay. So when you run it through, it means there's going to be no pressure on this part, and it's not going to cut that. So let me do that real quick and show you what that looks like. All right, so here you can see I just ran it through, and because I did that technique that I just showed you, that bottom did not cut. Now this little edge you see is about to go away, so don't worry about that. So we're going to take it and we're just going to, well, okay, this part just came right off, but we're going to take the little remnant and fold it. Okay. Mine did not cut all the way through the two, so I probably should have run it twice. So I'm just going to trim it real quick with my snips, which is fine. All right. Glue's still a little wet, so I got a little glue on it. All right, so if it cut all the way through, like it was supposed to, then you would have this handy little flap. But basically, if yours doesn't, you just do what I just did. All right, so then we're just going to fold it down, and then we're just going to cut it straight across to make our little opening. And I like having that seam between the two as a really nice guide. Ta-da! If you have any you just need to trim up, you just trim it up. Ta-da! Okay, so now we have our opening all ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put this box together for you guys real quick. Now all these little edges you just need to fold over. So we're just folding, a lot of folding. Okay, it's going to be like that. Our edges down, that one. Got a little fold too. Give a little pinch. Okay, so these are the little sides, and you're going to have these two little flaps on the inside, and fold this side over it. And it's going to tuck right into those two little spaces with the little flaps. So just take it and fold and press. And if your edges are nice and crisp, oh, there it pops out. Okay, should stay. Sometimes you have to pinch it a little bit more, but good idea. I do the other one. And those little pieces will pop out at the bottom. Not a big deal. Okay, so now we have our basic box. It's going to fold. These two are going to go inside, and these are going to go on the outside. So it goes like that down, and then these little, my watch is catching things. There we go. And then these two are going to tuck into this little side right here. So that's how your box goes together. Pretty quick and easy. You might have been able to figure that out on your own. We have our basic box done. So this is going to sit right on top like that. And looks like my hole probably could have been a little lower. But yet again, I can do the candy test and see if I need to trim it some more. Nope, looks like it's good. So, and if you do need to trim some more out, you can. Yet again, this is going to be pretty well covered, so it doesn't have to look perfect here. All right. Come out, you. All right, it can stay there for now. All right. So now we have our basic box. So now we're going to go ahead and grab that little extra strip. And we're going to do our sentiment up top and our little pull tab too. So our sentiment up top, we'll just go ahead and knock that out real quick. So that is cut by 3 1/4 by 3 1/2 inches. And then we're going to use this awesome new punch, which I love, to round out those sides. Now it has divots for different dimensions. And those, that 3/4 of an inch is that bottom divot, so you just slide it in, and sometimes it's good to check and make sure that you slid it in and you don't have it crooked. There we go. So you give it a little press and pull it out, ta-da, and then flip it and do that again. Slide all the way in, do a quick check, it's not crooked. Here we go. I did punch one crooked earlier, so now I'm extra cautious. All right. So now there we have our little piece. I'm going to go ahead and block up that sentiment real quick. But yet again, if you don't have this stamp set, you can use just whatever you have handy. We're just going to grab our Daffodil Delight. Stamp it right in the middle. Ta-da! Boom. Okay, and so to adhere that, I'm just going to do one regular size dimensional in the center. And then I'm going to do 2 dots of glue on the side. It kind of gives it a little bit of a raised look. It's very subtle, but I think it looks nice. So peel that little backing off. Okay. Go. Just like that. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and try to finish this off here. We've got our piece right here that's going to be our, what do you call it? Base of the gumball, I guess. All right, and you're also going to want a 1-inch strip. Just scrap, doesn't really matter, but whatever this is, you want it to match this. So if you're doing both Whisper White or both Very Vanilla, if you trim enough stuff, you will have scrap. So we're going to go ahead and take that and stick it right over our hole. Now this is going to determine where our dimensional strips are going to lie to hold it in place. Okay, and this is already looking a little too big, so I'm going to trim it real quick. I forgot to measure out this other one. Let's measure it real quick. This one is, okay, about 2.5 inches. So I'll trim it real quick. Super speedy. Okay. And we got our piece right there. So same thing as I did for that top, I'm going to go ahead and punch out that little edge just because I think it looks really nice and kind of ties it together. If you're not feeling the edge, you can of course leave it blank. Up to you. Make sure that's straight in there. Mine is a teeny bit crooked. Okay. Ta-da. All right, so now we have our piece. Yet again, we're going to line that up, and you want to be sure it covers the hole for the most part. If a little bit peeks through, that's fine. You do want to have room for those dimensionals all the way around to hold it in place. So now we're going to go ahead and grab those, which I put right here. Okay. And we're going to cut them into tinier strips. You don't really need this giant long strip for it. Okay, I'm just going to take it and go around, not on top, there we go, around and just sandwich it into place where I want it. Just like that. Now you don't have to go all the way out because that top piece is going to sit on it. It's just kind of to make sure it doesn't go too far and sits right there. All right, the other thing that I found helpful to do, now you don't have to do this, is to take another dimensional and stick it under here, so under the end. Now what this does is it makes that stick up a little bit easier to grab, and also kind of just holds it into place a little better. Now you don't take the top off of it. It's just kind of like a little bump essentially. All right, now we're going to take those backings off and press it down. So just lining up the bottom of the globe. Just like that. Okay, so now when you pull it, you have that hole for everything to go straight through. Stick it back. All right, so now that's basically how you do it. We're basically done. But I did want to show you another little hack that I did. Now this is optional. It depends, yet again, what you're putting in and how much candy or whatever you want to use. I was doing several of these, so I was trying to maximize my amount of candy. So what I did, oh, this one I sealed already. Here's one I didn't seal. Okay. So what I did is I did a couple of little strips on the inside. Now these are pretty simple, self-explanatory 1-inch strips just with a folded tab. These are just scraps that I had lying around. So what this does, and these are just, as I said, just little 1-inch strips, is it keeps all the candy kind of in the center and means you don't have to use quite as much to fill your box. Now, yet again, totally up to you. You don't have to do that, but I did find that pretty helpful, and I adhere that with some tear and tape or adhesive glue, whichever you prefer. The other thing that's nice about doing it out this way is the sides still go down and it doesn't interfere with closing of the box. But yet again, totally up to you. You don't have to do that. Just another little secret tip. Now, when you are done with your box, you are going to want to seal that so that it doesn't accidentally open if it's getting shipped or moved around. And for that, I like to use the tear and tape. So it's just quick and easy. So for that, I'm just going to take that tear and tape, tear piece off, and stick it on the outside edge of my box. I don't know if you guys can see that. There we go. So sticking it out right there, and then peeling it off and officially closing the box. There we go. Now, if you do seal it and still want to like add more or whatever, you can actually still do it through that opening as well. Get in there, you. Okay. You give it a little press. Now, it's not going anywhere. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial on how to make this fun gumball machine. I'm really proud of this project and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. For all the products featured in today's video, check out the video description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you in the next video.